morning. If you're looking out your window, you might be questioning my sanity. I have found a little gap in the weather, but it's blowing a hoolie, which is why I'm hunkered down in behind this old building, an old ruin, just like myself. Now, this morning's message from Mull is: do we need a goal reset? So, some quite interesting announcements from Scottish Government yesterday, and as expected, we are going to see some restriction eases as of next Thursday, I think it is, 20th of May. And watching the news last night, I just thought, is it time then to use that as a kind of a landmark for us, that we are through the initial period of lockdown, which must be a good thing. So I think there is some optimism from what is happening, and certainly some positives. And can we look forward to phase one of hopefully 4 that will allow us to make gradual changes to the way we're living our lives? So one of the first things that is going to happen is that outdoor pursuits are to be extended, so you can play tennis, you can get a kayak out, you can play golf under certain restrictions, you can go fishing. Obviously all this is including social distancing and just being careful. You can visit someone from another household. And I know that's going to be very powerful for a lot of people who haven't seen loved ones face to face for a while. You can sit in the park, you can sit in the beach. Just don't all go to Ganavan at the same time. But yeah, there's this sort of opening up of restrictions, and I hope a lot of you see that as a first tentative step in the right direction. And why don't we set some new goals? So we've already done a talk on setting SMART goals. You'll find it on the website. If you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a little link popping up now. And SMART goals relates to things that are specific to you, that are measurable, that are attainable, realistic and time-bound. And it might be an idea to think, was there a goal that I set at the start of this process which I have already achieved and I need to do something else? Or are there any goals perhaps that I set myself that I haven't quite made yet and I need to refocus? And if you do need a goal, then perhaps have a little think about a campaign that we're going to launch in the not too distant future. Now, the campaign is called the 5 to 10 campaign, and I'm just going to give you a little nod towards it today. Right, I don't expect everyone to run out and make grand decisions today, but I'll just give you a little overview of what we're looking at and the reasons behind it, really. So if you don't know already, Healthy Options is a charity, and I know a lot of people find that surprising, in that we're always having to seek funding for the work that we do, because obviously it's quite vital in terms of changing the lives of those that are living with long-term health conditions. And certainly in my previous job in Newcastle, this sort of work was always centrally funded by the government. But that's not the case up here, and obviously since the financial crisis things have been tight, and we are continually seeking funding from various sources to keep our work going. So we would quite like those in the local community to help us with that process and ease the pressure and the burden of trying to constantly find further funding. We have a very dedicated team of directors that sit on our board, and they do incredible work, but it would be nice to ease the pressure just a little bit. So, on a sort of crowdfunding approach, the 5 to 10 campaign relates to maybe a little challenge you could set yourself around doing 5 to 10 different things, new things, more challenging things. And I sat down last night while I was watching the 9 o'clock news to find out what was happening, and I started making a note of a few things. So just to give you an example of what we're talking about. So if you're somebody who really struggles with mobility and doesn't get out of the house much, walking 5 to 10 meters in your own hallway might be a real challenge, especially unaided. And I wanted to start at that sort of level because I want this to be able to be done by anyone. And I want you to use your imagination. So we all have different ability levels, and certain challenges will tax us in different ways. So it's whatever you come up with, whatever you think would be a real challenge to your situation at the minute. If you've taken up walking, could you walk 5 to 10 miles? 5 to 10 kilometers, if that's a bit of a push. If you've taken up cycling, could that be a 10-mile cycle? Could you build up towards that if it's something that you've just started? Could you cycle 10 kilometers a day for 10 days? Look at my buff, look at the state of that. It's better than what's happening underneath, I promise you. Could you use 5 to 10 as 5,210 and think of that as steps perhaps? So if you've got a Fitbit, or if you could get one, a little fitness tracker, could that become your goal, to try and get up to that amount of steps? Or could you equate that to height in feet? And over the course of time, this doesn't have to be done in one day obviously, could you equate that to total ascension in terms of in feet, if you're climbing Ben Laura or something like that? Could you do it so many times to make up the height of Ben Nevis or something like that? So have a little think about other ways of using the 5 to 10 campaign. One way I thought of is, could you volunteer to homeschool a child of somebody for 1 hour a week for 5 days? I'll pay you anything to do that. Or as the Proclaimers said, could you walk 500 miles? Again, over time, could you set yourself a challenge to do that in so many months, and start ticking that off every day, and then ask people to support you in the name of healthy options, and help us raise a little bit of money so that we can keep this going on. We can keep changing the lives of those in the local community. Our head guy at Healthy Options always says that if the issue's in the community, then the solution's in the community. And it would be really nice if our community could help to maintain this project and keep it going forward. Things getting up now. Other things, if you're trying to give up smoking, could you start smoking 5 to 10 cigarettes less a day? If you're trying to cut down on alcohol, could it be 5 to 10 less units a week? Well, not say a day, because that could be bad. Could you do 5 to 10 more repetitions of a certain exercise in the house? Sit to stand, squats, that sort of thing. If you're just getting back on the golf course, for example, could you suggest you're going to do 5 rounds of golf in 10 days? I know that'll be a gut wrench for a lot of you, but you could always say it's in the name of charity. So have a little think, be creative. If you've got some good ideas, please send them in, and then when we launch this campaign, hopefully some of you will already have had a little bit of a think about what you can do, and take it from there. And even if it's a £5 to £10 donation, that'll be amazing as well. And I know things are tight. I know we're heading into a tight recession. Things are hard. Things are hard over the whole country, but anything would be a help. So let's reset some goals. If you can use the 5 to 10 campaign, fantastic. Or if it's something else that you thought, I've missed out on that, I haven't quite made it, I need to reset and think about how I'm going to achieve that, then now would be a good time. And maybe you could set something different for phase 2 and phase 3 and phase 4 of this gradual easing of lockdown, as sort of landmarks as to how you're progressing and how you're reorientating to the normal world again. So I'm going to get back down the road today. I'm hoping that wind will be on my backside on the way home, and I hope you all have a good day, and catch you tomorrow. Stay safe.